I don't know what was in me to do things like this or to even like I don't know. Let's be real. Hold on. Hey, so yeah, I don't know what like persuaded me to like post this video or whatever, but before you like continue into it or you click with curiosity if you give a fuck when you're not making music and trying to expand your music careers or whatever the fuck y'all want to do in the underground scene, like I want to state there's nothing wrong with because everybody wants to be recognized, but I don't know. I often start to think that sometimes that's kind of a disease too. I think like wanting the recognition of something or wanting to be known for something kind of takes the joy away from things. And, like I'm starting to realize that certain people have this perception of me, like where it's like, you're an idiot. Like you say dumb shit all day. But in reality, like I say dumb shit all day because I really just want to escape the world. Like I really don't want to like live like that. Like I know like there's a lot of people who like for example, like see you or like see what you put on the internet and think like have a certain perception of you as a person. But I think like those people ultimately are fucking retarded. And here's another thing. Like I'm also very self-aware. For example, like I know I'm not the most hinged. Like I like that I'm not the most hinged because a lot of people like who try to be too politically correct or too this or too that and people please and all this shit. Like in reality, they just there's something about them. That's just something about people like that, and I just don't want to be that. I don't want to be like this person who has to like tiptoe and only make appropriate jokes and appropriate comments at appropriate times and be strictly dickly and fucking like I think that's like a boring life. Like I think like a racist joke once in a while is not gonna hurt me. I think like a joke about a lot of fucking harsh things aren't gonna hurt me. Like first off, I'm a kid from Bed-Stuy. Like I was born in the Bronx, raised a little bit in Queens, like with my grandparents until I was like 6, and then we moved to Bed-Stuy, and I've been there my whole life. So it's like, it's one of those things where I grew up in an era where like you couldn't be nice, you couldn't be like happy, like you couldn't be yourself in an environment that was overly hostile, and you couldn't go to a school and look too happy or too content or too anything really, like or it's like it was like a very dog eat dog world kind of thing. Like Bed-Stuy in the early 2000s, if anybody knows, was nothing like Bed-Stuy today. And I even question that society isn't the way it was back then that it is today. Of course, you could like point to many fucking examples of that, like fucking society and politics and da da da, and the way people think and like things like that. But like it's one of those things where when you come up in an era where like you grew up on South Park at a young age, you grew up on Adult Swim at a young age, like you see like a lot of MF Doom appearances on Adult Swim, and like you see a lot of the jokes like weren't appropriate, but it was the risk that was taken. Like the risk to be funny is just as worthy as the laugh sometimes. And like me, like I was always a creative writer, like people don't really know that about me. Like so the reason I'm such a good rapper, like, well, I developed my own philosophy for rapping if you want to really know about it and how to be a great rapper. I kind of mastered it myself, and it doesn't really work for anyone. Some people say I'm really good at rapping. Some people say I'm like okay. Some people like have a certain perception of me, and they like can't even fucking tolerate me because they have a vision in their head of me, but they don't know like that's not me. Like like they don't know like that I'm capable of actually having intellectual, in-depth conversations about all types of things like societal issues, political issues, and things like that. Like I have a lot of strong stances on a lot of shit, but it's like I'm actually a very liberal, open-minded dude. Like I'm a moderate, left-leaning person, like you know, and it's like people like to look at you or look at like the way you joke around as if it's a metric of like who you are as a person or like how you know, and I don't think that that's all the times very accurate. You know, I think like a lot of the problem is like, you know, my name's Corey Ellis. You know, like I'm named after my father. I'm technically a junior, but not legally a junior. But I'm like, I guess, I don't know. They didn't name me junior. I don't know, or two, or however the fuck it goes. But I don't know. The point is like, you know, like at the end of the day, like, you know, I think about Zensei, you know, like the rap name and, you know, Peace Teacher. And I was very young when I came up with the name. And I realized now, like, Peace Teacher wasn't like what I was. It was what I was willing to become. You know, like Peace Teacher wasn't like a perfect, all-knowing, all-peaceful, nothing ever bothers you person. You know, Zensei was like more of a reflection of reality. You know, like Zensei is more like, okay, I'm here, but doesn't mean I'm going to be there in the future. You know, I'm here, but the potential is also here. You know, Zensei was like being okay with everything, you know, and being okay with the fact that, yeah, you are like, you struggle in a world to really cope with life, and you struggle to cope with the way things go, and you struggle to cope with your trauma, and you struggle to cope with a lot of other things. But in reality, like, that's just the nature of the human experience, you know, right? So what makes me so fucking special? I get it, whatever, you know, but like, people always ask you what makes you the way you are, but it's not really what makes you, because, you know, what is like, in my head, right? And I interpret it as like what experience or what, you know, it's just, I don't know. Everybody asks you, you know, like everybody wonders that, but they don't know like what it took for you to get this far. So everybody's like, ooh, who is Zensei? He's just this, or Zensei or Corey or whatever the fuck. They're just like, he's just this fucking like, he's just this fucking, like, politically incorrect shock culture jackass. And you're absolutely fucking right, because I'm also self-aware, too. I am a politically incorrect jackass at times, yeah. I'm politically incorrect, but doesn't mean I don't know what's right. You know, like, I understand, like, that I'm saying something or being impolitically correct. I'm impolitically correct, but, like, I also came from an era where being impolitically correct was actually seen as like funny or like satire or like poking fun at the realities we look at in life. You know, like, for example, everybody loves a comedian until they get to their demographic. You know, like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, let's all have fun, but let's start policing fun. Let's start like policing like how people have fun and what they should and shouldn't say, and then if they say something we don't like or agree with, we can characterize their whole identity based on that. And I think like that's just, it's just stupid, and it holds people back as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people always argue, and some people also argue that saying things that aren't politically correct, like that are politically incorrect and not, you know, meaning them is just in vain. And it's like, not necessarily if you're like a person who's meant for this kind of thing. Like, for example, like, I always had a dream to like do sketch comedy. You know, like, I always had a dream to like, I always wanted to like be on Adult Swim in some way, or have my own Adult Swim show, or like I was heavy on like Aqua Teen Hunger Force as a kid, and very much as a kid, like, I liked the lore, I liked the imagination, I liked the shock value, I liked the thought, I liked the, you know, like, I like the certain things or the themes in that show, not because I necessarily relate to them, or not necessarily because I know that they're real. I knew at that time, like, oh, this is actually wrong, and you know this is wrong, and you're doing it anyway. You know this is violent, and you know this is violent in the realms of that cartoon. You know, you know that. You know that's wrong. You know, so, yeah, you know it's wrong. You know, like, if you ask me, like, yeah, you know, you said something I didn't like, and it's like, well, you know, a part of me is like, okay, well, you know, I'm sorry you didn't like that, but a part of me is like, you know what, also, it's like, if you listen to my reasoning behind certain things and actually got to know me as a person instead of like a rapper or a goat or whatever the fuck you guys call it, you know, in the underground scene. It's like, you know, like, one thing I realize in life as I go through it is like, it's really hard to be a playwright in a world of bad actors, you know? And all my life I try to like be as authentic and true to myself, like even if it hurts other people, because as much as it's in my nature to want to be a good person and I want to like, there's a fine line between being a good person and being like a people pleaser, you know, like so many people who walk around in the underground rap scene, like they're so fucking focused on associations and clicking up and da-da-da to the point where they don't even have a semblance of who they are and they don't even know and they don't even have the bravery to find out, you know? Like they're not very introspective, you know? Like at least if I say something politically correct, I can say, yeah, you're right, that was crazy. And I know that it sounds crazy, but in my head, like I'm just trying to be funny to myself, not to you, but I'm trying to find my people, you know? Like I don't really have time to like be around people who takes things serious all day and hold merit or like or hold malice towards what I say in good fun. You know, like I just miss the era where people weren't pussies. You know, I miss the era where people weren't like offended by everything. You know, like I wish, I don't know, it's like, all right, you know, all right. It wasn't funny, but at least I could, you know, like at least that, you know, at the very most, but I don't know. Like a part of me misses the era where, I don't know, it was okay to think outside the box and be different and think different and know that at the end of the day, you know yourself and you know who you are, you know, like now all of a sudden you say something or post something on the internet, they don't have any reason why, they don't have any context why, they don't even have a reason why, they don't even care about asking a reason why or how or any of those things, you know, or any of the things we learn, like the, you know, who, what, when, where, why, and all that. They don't really care about that. Some people, I think, like just care about a narrative sometimes, you know. Like I think that that's the problem. Like they're so, everybody wants no labels until it's time for them to get out the box, you know. And I think that's kind of like, you know, like not to, I'm just saying that, you know, like it's true. Like everybody thinks like they're so above it and they don't want to be labeled until like someone says, hey, you're kind of like this. And then it's like, I'm not like that. Don't label me, bro. But in reality, you are like that, you know? And sometimes like there's a certain power and strength and self-awareness that comes with that too, you know? Like I'm aware of my flaws, very much so, you know? Like I'm Corey, bro. Like I'm Corey, you know? And that's okay too. Like sometimes there was a point where I didn't even want to be called like by my government name because it's like, I don't want people to try to get too close into the world that I live in sometimes, you know, like, and maybe that's a defensive armor or some shit. But in reality, like, I don't think that people really deserve to know who I am because in reality, at the end of the day, like, in a world where everybody's canceling each other for no reason, whether they're innocent or not, and there's witch hunts, whether people are innocent or not, or whether they're worthy of it or not, and people just jump into actions without thinking or communicating or learning or any of these things that really fucking matter. You know, like so many people like talk about communication, but they don't know how to do it properly. You know, like some people, and I remember a good friend told me this one time, is like God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth so you can listen twice as much as you speak, you know? And unfortunately, like I am also the guy who will do that. I will listen to you, but I'm not going to fall for the bullshit if you're giving me bullshit. You know, I'll listen, but just because I'm listening doesn't change the fact that it's bullshit. And you could probably say the same about me too. You know, like, oh, you're full of shit. And I'd be like, okay. You know, like if you think that, you think that, you know, but I think at least if I can give you a reason as to why, you know, or why I think that way, you know, or a philosophy or something, you know. But people are just so one-track minded and so like focused on like painting you as something or like seeing you, you know, as something or like something like that. And it's like, sometimes it just gets out of hand, bro. Like, you know, it's like, I don't and I realize that, like, some people might like ask me like, you know, what I rap for, what am I doing it for? So many people's, you know, like maybe like you're doing it for recognition or to be seen and things like that. It's like true, you know, I everybody wants to be acknowledged or recognized for their work, but I don't want to be recognized and acknowledged for my work at the detriment of myself. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're Sensei and only Sensei, and you're always going to be Sensei, and that's your whole identity. And it's like, yeah, I am Sensei, true, but, you know, Corey had to crawl so Sensei can walk and feel comfortable, you know, and rap, you know, like, even when I was 12, like, people don't know that my first rap name was the one named Corey. You know, I don't know why I didn't stick with that name, but I don't know. Like, some people think, oh, the one named Corey, that's great. But it's like, I didn't really like it. It didn't have a ring to it. So then, you know, Sensei, you know, it's just something I aspired to be, you know, like peace teacher, you know. And then I come to realize that when I Googled it on fucking like a couple days ago, like Sensei, I don't know why it's fucking weird to Google yourself like that. But I Googled the name because I wanted to see like what it meant to other people, and of course I find like other artists named Sensei too, which is cool, you know, like. But it's like I found out what it means, and it's like, oh, okay, like maybe I was right picking this name, even though it was for a different reason, you know, like. I don't know, man. I'm starting to realize a lot of things, you know, like some people like, especially in the rap game and things like that, or especially like in the underground scene, it's like. Me personally, like, honestly, I'm going to keep it 100%, bro. I do not give a fuck how you rap. I don't give a fuck. Like 100%, bro. I don't care. If you rap good, keep rapping good. Like, you rapping well doesn't change that feel and am the greatest rapper of all time, in my opinion. It never will. Like, Kendrick Lamar literally could step to me and I would probably fucking challenge him. And I don't know what it is. It's probably that fucking like too hard-headed for his own goodness, or too confident for his own goodness, or just crazy enough to fucking, you know, I don't know what it is, but you know, it's just I have that confidence in myself to say, you know what, like I tried, you know, like before I die, like, or if it happens, like, well, it will happen. There's no if, like I'm not gonna be fucking immortal, but I'm like if my life ever ends, you know, like if I were to die tomorrow, I know that I could be proud to say like that I tried, you know, like I'm glad to say I tried, you know. Even when I was 12, writing my bars and everybody was looking at me like this fucking kid's an idiot or antisocial, whatever. There was a plan, there was a method to the madness, and now I guess this is the madness, and I'm in it. You know, like I'm in a rap industry or in an underground industry that's not really based on talent, and that's the unfortunate part about it, because there's many fucking people, like many fucking beautiful, fucking fantastic artists that'll never see the commercial success, even though they can be better than them. And maybe it's like chance or who you know or how you know them and things like that, but in reality that's just all bullshit, because like I don't know, man, I just feel like just because things are the way they are, it shouldn't be the way it is, you know. Like people are like often like cast it aside or like seen as like yuck or some shit, like clicked up and super clicked up and friendly and buddy, you know. It's like I don't know, it's like a person like me, like who prides himself on trying to be like as raw and as real or as don't give a fuck and free and as creative as I possibly want. There are people who are like that too, but they're like that for other reasons, you know. They're as free and as creative and expressive as they want, if it'll get them somewhere, or if you know, like some people, like I think they just shoot for the fucking stars, and if they land on the cloud, they wish that's like they'll land on success, evidently. But in some cases, it's just not just that. Sometimes you shoot for the stars and you land right back on the fucking concrete, you know. And then you gotta find a way or find some motivation or find like a reason to live or like a reason to aim back, you know, like to aim and cock it back and just, and maybe that chance will be the chance. And then you'll land on a cloud, or, you know, and it's just like, you know what, like all that seems really monotonous when in reality you can just do it because you love it. And in reality, like that's how I always did it. You know, that's why people see me as a good rapper, or at least I would like to think people see me as that. But like, it's because like it wasn't to get somewhere, you know. It's just like I have an appreciation for this art, you know. I grew up listening to so much music, so many different genres in my household with my mom, bless her, and like I was listening to Prince and Michael Jackson, and I would even listen to Stained. I would listen to REM, Shiny Happy People. You know, I would listen to Dave Matthews Band. You know, the space between, you know, people don't know those things. You know, like they think because I sound like MF Doom in some weird fucking way that that's what I'm trying to be. But in reality, it's not. It's just a coincidence of things, you know? Like, that's why I named my last album I'm Not Doomed. Because in reality, like, I never really tried to emulate a style, you know? And even then, like, who's really original? You know? And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like the chicken and the egg thing, you know? It's like, and I don't think really people care about original anymore as much as they care about innovation, you know, like it's always that, you know, 6'7". Sorry. But it's meme. But anyway, it's always that like, you know, like duality. It's like, hey, like, you know, like do you become like innovative or do you like stick to the grain and be innovative but the same? You know, it's like be innovative but be innovative in the style I want you to be innovative. You know, it's like I don't know, bro. It's like everybody likes to like paint you in a box or like look at you a certain way or like think, oh, he's probably this kind of person or gauge or shit like that. But a lot of people like obviously like in the music business, and I've seen it firsthand, they're not genuine, you know, and like don't want to call nobody out. Not gonna name names. Don't want anybody to feel outed or anything like that or feel like I'm a dick. But like from what I see as a person who like really cares about community and really cares about like getting rappers together instead of feeling like they have to fight each other or feeling like there's a hidden competition or feeling like, oh, like there's a pecking order or some like dumb shit. Like a lot of niggas in the rap game, and as skilled as they are, they're bootlickers. They will bootlick. And this is some shit I don't like. I see it all the time. It's like, chummy, chummy, chum. And it's like, I don't know, bro. It's just like, I don't want to be around that all the time. You know, I don't want to like, I get it, you're a rapper, you know many people, I get it. But it's like, yo, like, man, what's it worth? You know, like, you know all these people and that's great. But you don't even know who you are yet. You know, you don't even know yourself mostly, you know. As someone who struggles with bipolar disorder, like, you know, myself, like, I think it's a gift, but it's like, it's a slippery slope when it's sometimes it's more slippery than it is a slope, and sometimes it's more of a slope than it is slippery. Sometimes it's an uphill climb. It's everything. Like, I feel like being bipolar is like literally everything in one. You know, like, sometimes you're Superman, sometimes you're like Clark Kent. You know, it's like the duality. Sometimes you're in between or neither, you know? Sometimes it's like, I don't even want to get up because it's like, you know, life, you know? And circumstances and things and, you know, and it's like, you know, sometimes it's just like, you know what? A part of my brain, like, and knowing this is a logical part of me and knowing myself, it's like a part of my brain just has to say, fuck everybody else, you know? Not in a way that's disrespectful or in a way that's like, okay, like, literally fuck you, like I don't like you. Like, no, there's a lot of great people that I like, but you know, it's just I don't know, man. Music just isn't the same, man. Like I remember like people used to rap because they felt it, you know? Now they're rapping because they think like and you can tell the difference, you know. I swear to God, bro, I swear to God, and people know what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, some people who rap because it's like this is all they think about, you know? Rap is all I fucking think about. Like, if I could give up everything in the fucking world and just rap all day, I would do it, you know? I would do it 10 times out of 10. But I wouldn't do it to the detriment of myself. And that's where self-awareness comes in, because that's where these big fucking labels and, you know, people, they come around and, hey, you know, you want to make a lot of money and be in debt, but look like you're cool? No. Like, No, I don't. You know, I don't. I'm not looking for that. You know, like, and I think like so many people like, and like I said, like I don't know if I said it or not in this thing right here, but I think like I honestly do think like some people are so focused on glory they forget the glory around them. You know, and I think, and that's a powerful statement. It's more powerful than you think because like you're so busy trying to get somewhere and be known and get the money and da da da. Yeah, but what friends did you make? What genuine connections did you actually have? You know, who actually gives a fuck about you? Like so many people are so used to fake love, they'll take it from everywhere it comes from. You know, just because it looks like what they think they deserve, and I guess that's a part of human nature too. Human nature too. You know. But I'm Corey, bro. I'm Corey, whatever, Zensei, whatever. Like I'm Zensei, rapper, Corey Ellis, person, you know, like, but what people don't know about me is like I as like I am bipolar, yes. You know what I mean? I am. But at the same time, like if I wasn't who I am now, what would I be? You know? So I guess we have to give credit for something, you know? Like I'm also the same kid who wrote writing awards, who got writing awards as a kid for writing stories, you know? I have a great imagination. I know my mind can take me places. Like right now, I want to work on a script. Like that's one of my goals. Like outside of rap is to just like work on like a script. You know, like just work on like a really solid, cool script, and it can fucking flop. It could not be great. Like I don't really give a fuck. Like I just want to like write. I just want to like you know I'm an interesting person in my own opinion. You know, like I like other things. You know. Than people give me credit for. Like I like art. I like visual imagery. You know, I like going to museums and aquariums and shit and learning new things, you know, like but you wouldn't assume that because politically incorrect guy, edgy. But it's like that's just because that's what I'm thinking about at that moment. That doesn't mean this is what I'm thinking every fucking waking moment of my life. You know, like I'm a normal person. Sometimes I'll have an immature thought once in a while. Yo, I remember this one time, bro. Like, maybe like, I don't know. Like, I basically, I took someone on a date to a fucking, like, I don't know, like some shitty fucking steakhouse or whatever. And then, like, I got fries and, like, there's something about ketchup bottles, like, making that, like, sound. I just, like, it's so fucking hilarious, bro. So I can't help but, like, at least snicker or try really hard not to laugh at that because it's just like he fart in my like immature fucking like brain, you know, and I'm aware that like you know it's like he's invalid, you know, but like I understand how you would see it, but like at the same time it's like I don't care because like if I sat here caring what you thought, I wouldn't be happy right now, you know, and that's what I think a lot of the rap game is like they're so focused on like trying to get somewhere that they're not enjoying like who they have around them or appreciation for what's around them. And I guess I'm just like you, huh? Or you're like me, whatever it is. But hey, this has been fun. You know, I like doing these like monologues to people. I feel like I don't know. Does anybody relate to what I'm saying at all? Like I don't know. It's fucking 30 minutes. Fucking hell. That's a whole fucking therapy session. Jesus Christ. Um. Yeah, I'm gonna post this on like YouTube and just fucking like you know I might rip the audio and even put it on SoundCloud just to dick around. I don't know, just to hear what people think sometimes. But it's been real. It's been fun. I don't know if I'm ready for Instagram yet. If you see it, I don't know. But yeah, man, that's just my life right now. You know, that's just the state I'm in. So yeah, I'm Corey, Zensei, Bedside Bully, Zensei the Ferocious, the one named Corey, Corey in the House, Peak Anime. I'll see you guys later. I'm done.